Alright, welcome back to the channel. So, Errol Spence Jr. is having some concerns about Devin Haney going to Australia to fight George Kamboso Jr. And Errol Spence Jr. had to do his homework on a certain type of fighter that Kamboso has fought. So, I'm going to break it down to y'all. Let's talk about it in this video. King Jr. got another video for y'all. Please share that you like and subscribe to the channel. And also, share the video to get all your latest boxing news. Remember to hit that bell icon to always stay notified as soon as I release the news. And let's get into this. So, Errol Spence Jr. had tweeted out on Twitter about the fight that is about to take place with George Kamboso Jr. and Devin Haney. And he also stated that George Kamboso Jr. He did his homework basically, and he stated that you ain't gonna know what to expect in this fight. If you go back and look at the Mickey Bay fight, he was basically saying that George Kamboso Jr. did not win that fight. And he's going to be up on the cards already as soon as he entered the ring and didn't even throw a punch. I'm just emphasizing. But Errol Spence Jr. says he's a little bit concerned about how these judges is going to play out in this fight between Devin Haney and George Kamboso. Well, we have to look at a situation like this, people. You guys remember when Manny Pacquiao went over to Australia to fight Jeff Horn for the WBO belt? And Manny Pacquiao, you can arguably make a case that he really won the fight against Jeff Horn, right? So, when it went to the scorecards, Manny Pacquiao lost. I don't remember the direct scorecards, but we know he lost. And Teddy Atlas, remember, Teddy Atlas went on a blastful super rant on the Australian judges and ESPN, and you guys know that Teddy Atlas is a man of himself. He worked for himself. He doesn't no longer mess with ESPN and Top Rank after that scenario, right? So people are concerned that Devin is going to be getting that Manny Pacquiao treatment when he goes over there, and I think that's not going to be the case for Devin. I'm not worrying about Devin losing this fight because I'm confident in Devin's skill set. I'm confident that Devin is one of the best masterclass boxers in the lightweight division. He may not be the biggest puncher in the world, but he's going to show you what them fists is all about. He's going to show you the speed. He's going to show you the quickness. He's going to show you the foot speed. He's going to show you the ring IQ. He's going to show you all those things. And so I see where Errol Spence Jr. is coming from. Because remember, when Errol Spence Jr. fought Kell Brook, them scorecards was mighty close. And Errol Spence Jr. was giving him that work. And then Errol Spence Jr. didn't stop Kell Brook. We don't know how that fight would have turned out. We don't know what the end results. Because Errol was fighting in a hostile territory in the UK. And we know how they like to rob people. We seen it blatantly when they robbed Jack Cottrell. And that arguably gave Jack Cottrell the first 7 rounds before he started slowing down. But in a case where Devin Haney's is, he has no choice to win this fight. He is betting all on himself. So he has no choice to win this fight. And I think he's going to win this fight. And I think he's going to come back home and bring those belts with him. We know he has the immediate rematch with George Kamboso Jr. That's why I'm hoping Devin Haney stops this clown. I really do. I'm tired of this fake wannabe in the movie clown, George Kamboso. I'm going to stylistically break this down one more time again. George Kamboso Jr. is not a special fighter. Yeah, he has fast feet, he has fast hands, but he's not going to be able to land that same shot on Devin Haney like he did Teofimo Lopez in the last fight. All George Kamboso Jr. has is basically a right hand, a jab, right hand. That's all he has. I could be wrong. A jab left. He comes in. What he does, he gets close. He throws a jab and tries to throw the hook. Jab, left hook. That's what he does and shift the angles. You guys can see it in the Teofimo Lopez fight. That's what he does. That's all he has. But he's not going to be able to do that to Devin Haney because he doesn't have the reach. He's going to be the smaller man, and he's going to have to work his way on the inside. And I don't see Devin Haney allowing this man to get on the inside unless George Kamboso Jr. is desperate and he needs to tie him up. So, with that being said, guys, I don't know what's going to happen in this fight, to be honest with you. We've seen a lot of corrupt stuff in the sport of boxing. This is where another scenario happened 8 to 9 years ago when, oh my God, I'm having a brain spasm. When Floyd Mayweather fought Canelo Alvarez, and we came to a situation where Floyd Mayweather just completely destroyed Canelo Alvarez every single round and clearly outclassed him, masterclass boxing, all that good stuff, right? Then when it gets down to the judges' scorecards, one judge had it a draw. What are you smoking on to make sure it's a draw? Ain't no way in the world that fight was even close to making a draw. Okay? And we seen another scenario that happened recently this year when Dimitri Bivol fought Canelo Alvarez. Dimitri Bivol gave Canelo Alvarez an ass whooping of his lifetime, right? So, at best, I say the fight was 10-2, 9-3 at best, right? But people want to say 10-2. I have no disagreement with that. If you think 10-2, cool, 10-2. But at best, I gave Canelo Alvarez 3 rounds. At best, in my opinion. But there was a scenario that the judges, which I broke this down recently when Teddy Atlas was explaining it, had all identical score cards. Never in history in the sport of boxing that has ever had all identical score cards like that. And it makes absolutely no sense. So we don't know what's going to happen when that fight starts. We don't know how these judges are going to play out. Now, they're saying that there's not Australian judges that have different type of judges all the way around the country. But remember, boxing is a racist sport. Maybe these judges don't like black fighters. Maybe they want to finally see an Australian champion, undisputed lineal Australian champion in history, because Australia doesn't even have that. They don't have a champion, undisputed champion like that. As American fighters, American fans, we have all that. We have lineals and undisputed champions. Australia doesn't have that. So this could be a scenario where Devin Haney could completely wash Kambosos and they can just rob him right then and there. If that happens, not only Devin Haney will lose everything. Well, he won't lose everything. He will lose a lot if he will lose a lot, and he have to go back to the woodworks to really, really rebuild himself. And it puts Kambosos in a situation where he can do the same thing to Gervonta Davis. It wouldn't matter how many numbers Gervonta Davis is doing. It won't matter because Gervonta Tank Davis is going to be looking for big fights, right? But Gervonta Tank Davis is signed back with Leonard Nella being Floyd Mayweather, so they said, look, we'll fight you without them belts. F them belts. We don't care. We'll fight you in Australia without them belts. So they could do that to Gervonta Davis. They could do it to any type of fighter. But I know it's not going to happen. This is just a scenario. I think that Devin Haney is going to outclass George Kambosos Jr. I'm hoping he does. I'm hoping he puts on a masterclass performance. I hope Yoda Judah come in with a game plan to just simply, I hope Yoda gives him the game plan to stop this dude. Because I can see a robbery. I can really do. Because of the scenario with Manny Pacquiao and Jeff Horn. I can see that happening. But we're going to have to see how this all plays out at the end of the day. I'm rooting for Devin Haney. So Errol Spence Jr. says to us that we need to go back and look at that Mickey Bay fight because that fight was very, very close. And George Kambosos Jr., in my opinion, when I seen the fight, lost that fight. But they wound up giving it to, well, he got away because if he did knock Mickey Bay down or whatever the case may be, even though Mickey Bay, in my opinion, fought his way back, he would have lost that fight. If Mickey Bay would have got dropped, I would leave in that fight. So Errol Spence Jr. is concerned that they're going to give George Kamboso the up and up on the scorecards, and he could potentially, they could rob Devin Haney. So we're going to have to see how this all plays out, guys. So with that being said, guys, it is what it is. Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment. This is your boy King Jr. I'm out of here. Peace.